Hello, welcome to beautiful Bottle Cove for our practice today. You may want to have a block, maybe two if you do, and anything else that makes you feel cozy. So settle in into a place that feels like rest for you, and then just allow yourself to arrive. And as you begin to arrive onto your mat, letting go of whatever else has already happened here today leading up to this moment, and not worrying about anything else that has to happen a little later. Just let yourself totally arrive. And if it is a safe space for you, maybe the eyelids gently soften shut. And just notice how you're feeling. Perhaps for the first time all day, you begin to notice that the body is breathing. Something that happens many, many times without any active control, but for right now, just notice the textures, the qualities, the rate and rhythm of your unique breath. No need to change anything at all, just allow yourself to arrive and be in your body and be with your breath. And then on your next inhale, if it feels good or you want to explore, perhaps you start to bring the inhale in through the nose. Slowing down the breath in, and then bringing the exhale back out through the nose, equalizing the breath back out. And then again, breathing in, maybe slowing down that inhale for a count of 3 or 4 or maybe even 5. And breathing back out for that same duration or perhaps a little bit longer. And as you continue to be in your body and be with your breath, inspired by the beautiful backdrop that we have to practice in this evening, I invite you to consider the following. There are 2 places that you should go to often. One being the place that heals you, and the other being the place that inspires you. 2 places that you should go to often. The one that heals you, and the one that inspires you. And maybe sometimes they're exactly the same place. But as you arrive here, imagining one of those places and visualizing it in your mind's eye. What does it look like to you today? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Maybe you notice the temperature of the place, scents, maybe even a taste of the salt water if that's where you are. But in your mind's eye, as you imagine the qualities of that place that feels both healing or inspiring, maybe the 2 of them, notice how that makes you feel. Not only in your body, but also in your heart and your mind. And know that you can always come back to that place, even if you're not there physically. You can visit it as often as you need and find that sense of peace and presence, even if it's just for a single breath in and a single breath out. And then on your next inhale, if you feel ready to begin to invite some gentle movement throughout the body, just begin to trace the thumbs along the tips of the fingers. Maybe you start to invite a little more movement through the hands and the feet. And if it calls out to you here, just begin to float the hands up and overhead, reaching the fingers as far away from the toes as you wish. Invite a luxurious full body stretch. And I'll meet you on my back as we begin to walk the feet back in towards the seats. The feet are planted, the knees are bent. And then outstretch the arms if you have lots of space, and perhaps take the feet a little wider apart. As you inhale, visualize the knees pointing up towards the sky. And as you exhale, let them drift over to the left. Inhale, bring them back up and let them drift over to the right. And just begin to find a little moving meditation here. You can move as slowly as you wish. If there's a place that feels rather helpful to you and you want to linger a little longer, by all means. And if you do so on one side, then even it out onto the other as well. The next time that the knees are pointing up towards the sky, just pause here and maybe take them in towards one another so you find a place of constructive rest. Take a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly and just pause here, noticing that connection to the breath. Maybe you notice the heartbeat. Breathing in, may you feel peaceful. Breathing out, may you feel at ease. Let's take one arm, it doesn't matter which one, and drape it overhead. And just begin to roll over to that side, pausing there for a breath or two. And then with your hand that's free, just press it into the mat, into the earth beneath you, and allow yourself to arrive back up onto your seat, sitting up as tall as you can. And for some of us, you may prefer to sit on a block and elevate your hips a little higher than the knees, so you can try that on. And then ground the hands down into the knees here, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky. As you inhale, start to take the shoulders up towards the ears and then down onto your back. So inviting some mindful movement through the shoulders and noticing the textures, the qualities, the sensations of this gentle movement. And then on the next inhale, draw the shoulders up. And as you exhale, bring them on back down. Gently lower the head towards the chest as you become a little more acquainted with the back line of your neck. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down here. As you inhale, bring your head back up to neutral, and let's take the hands all the way up. Breathing in. Maybe a sigh out through the mouth, letting go of the day. Let's do that again 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sigh it all away. One last time here. Inhale, reach a little higher. And as you exhale, bring the hands back down through to heart center. Just pause here, landing on something that you're grateful for today. And then once you land on whatever that is that you wish to express gratitude towards, a silent thank you and a thank you to you for showing up for yourself. As you breathe in, let's lift the hands back up towards the sky. Reach a little higher and then invite a twist over to the right side of your space so that left hand lands on or near the right knee or thigh and the right hand is behind you. And we're never forcing, just working with the range of motion that shows up today. And then option to stay here or option to release that right hand away from the mat and drift over towards the left side of your space. You can gaze down, straight ahead, or maybe up towards the sky. Inhale to unwind, lift up, and then invite that twist over to the left. So same thing, opposite side. Perhaps you linger here in this variation, or start to lift that left hand up and drift towards the right side. Breathing in, may you feel a sense of peacefulness. Breathing out, unwinding, may you feel a little more at ease. Float the hands up. And as you exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Take one more breath in. And a beautiful breath out to begin to find your way onto all fours. So with the shoulders roughly over the wrists, hips over the knees, find your tabletop so you can have the toes tucked or untucked, whatever works. And just get into some exploratory cat and cow. So as you breathe in, let the belly drop, crown of the head and tailbone towards the sky. As you breathe out, curl everything in, find that cat pose, round into the upper back. Find a little flow. Option always to gaze out over a shoulder towards the hips. Maybe you trace some circles with the hips. Find what feels good here. And if you're craving a little spice, you can hover the knees away from the ground when you take your cat pose. So try on, see what works here on your unique practice here today. Moving with your breath. And let's begin to find our way back to tabletop. I'll invite you to tuck the left toes and then extend the right leg straight back behind you. So you invite a nice stretch into the right calf. You can ease that right heel towards the mat. And the option is to hang out here or slowly begin to spin that left foot open to the side so that your left hand is beneath the shoulder, and come on up into a supported side plank, letting that right hand float towards the sky. Option to stay here or bring that right arm alongside the ear, inviting an arc into the side body. Breathing in here. As you breathe out, come back into all fours so that you can tuck the right toes and extend the left leg straight back behind you. Ease that heel towards the floor. And don't worry about how far that heel is towards the ground. Focus on the feeling through the back line of that leg. Hang out as you are here, or start to spiral that right foot open to the side. Drop your left heel and reach the left hand up so you find that supported side plank on the opposite side. Reach that left hand up, or once more, bring it alongside the ear towards the front. Create an arc through the left side of the body. And then as you breathe out, let's come back onto all fours. This time, option to tuck the toes and find cow belly pose. Maybe you linger here, or if you'd like to transition to downward dog, ease the hips towards the heels. Press the hands towards the top of your mat until your knees lift away from the ground. And your belly may rest or reach towards the thighs. It does not matter how much of a bend you have in your knees, or maybe the heels are lifting. Focus on the feeling. Take the stress and strain of the shoulders and the wrists and just allow yourself to settle into your downward dog. On your next breath in, lift those heels, bend the knees, look between the hands, walk, hop, tiptoe in as many steps as you need to find your way up to a really relaxed forward fold. So you can have a great big bend in the knees, maybe the hands connect with the ground, or you can reach for opposite elbow with opposite hand. Invite a little shift of the weight of the body into either side, nodding your head yes, shaking your head no. Breathing in a sense of peacefulness, and breathing out, maybe even sighing out to feel a little more at ease. Let the hands drop away from the elbows if they were there. And imagining that you're moving through honey and you want to move as slowly as you can. Start to roll yourself up one vertebra at a time so that the knees stack over the ankles, the hips over the knees, the shoulders over the hips. And bring the shoulders on up and take a moment here to find your strong foundation, your mountain pose. So perhaps you draw the shoulders up and then squeeze the shoulder blades together and down on your back. And maybe first time that your feet connect with the ground here today, just notice what it feels like to stand. Perhaps you close your eyes and just feel that subtle sway, side to side, forward and back. Reminding ourselves of how much we rely on our visual information to stay upright. Softening into the knees, reach the hands down and then up and overhead. Let's hold on to the right wrist with that left hand and start to step the right foot behind you and off to the side so that we can come into a Krishna's pose. You can gaze down towards the left, maybe straight ahead or maybe take it up. Leaning in here, and then a little switch. Let's ease the weight of our body into the left leg. Swing the right foot around, hold on to the left wrist, and find that arc over towards the right. Breathing in, staying for that exhale. As you inhale in one fluid movement, can you uncross the ankles, stand upright, open up across the chest, take goddess arms here. Inhale, lift the hands up, and as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips to find your standing forward fold. Breathe in to lift halfway, lengthen through the spine, shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, set the hands down, and let's take the right foot back. So we're finding a runner's lunge here, but the option is always to lower that right knee down to the ground if you wish. If you have a block, you may want to take it beneath the right hand. And as you inhale, let's lift that left hand up as you rotate open to the left side, finding a twist here. Create length and space across the chest. Breathing in. As you breathe out, slowly ease that left hand back down to the floor and lower that right knee down to the mat. Breathing in, let's find our way up to a beautiful low lunge. Actively press that left foot into your mat. Lift the heart towards the sky. And as you exhale, let the hips relax, let that front leg also relax a little. Breathe in, tuck those right toes, and then press the earth away from you to find high lunge. You may need to widen your stance a little bit. Always, if you prefer, you can lower that right knee down to the ground. From here, stay or start to reach for that right wrist with your left hand and lean over towards the left side. Lots of space through the side body. Inhale to come back upright. As you exhale, frame that front foot. Step it back to a plank. You can lower that right knee first or keep it lifted. Your choice always. Find your plank here, whether the knees are lifted or lowered. Option to go right to downward dog or ripple your way through chaturanga. Inhale up to cobra or upward facing dog. And then roll over your knees or your toes to find downward facing dog. Just give yourself 3 breaths here. Remembering that anytime, you hear downward dog, you can always hear tabletop or child's pose, whatever you need. And after that 3rd exhale, pick up the heels, bend the knees, look between the hands, walk, hop, or fly. Top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, fold forward. Lead with your heart as you rise all the way up, proudly reaching up and overhead, maybe fingertips towards the back. And a cathartic sigh out, finding your way into your mountain pose. Take a moment here, reset. When you feel ready, soften into the knees, reach down and then up and overhead. This time, let's hold on to the left wrist with the right hand. Step the left foot behind you and off to the side as you find that Krishna's pose, other direction. Now that you know what's coming, it may feel a little more intuitive. Let's lean into the right leg as you swing the left foot around, hold on to the right wrist, and find that arc over to the left. Breathing in and staying for that exhale. Inhale to come on up, uncross the ankles, open up goddess pose. Breathe in to reach the hands on up. As you exhale, hinge forward, find that standing forward fold once again. Breathe in to lengthen through the spine, lift halfway. Shoulders away from the ears here. Exhale, set the hands down and step the left foot back. Setting up here for that runner's lunge first, but the option to lower the left knee down is always there. With the right hand, can you lift it up towards the sky as you rotate through the torso? Find that twist. Gaze wherever it feels best in your neck. Inhale to reach a little higher. As you exhale, ease that right hand down and let the left knee drop to the mat as well. The hands can stay down or start to press that right foot into the floor as you rise on up. Find that low lunge. Inhale, lift a little higher, and as you exhale, let the hips drop, relax. Maybe you feel a little more awareness in those left hip flexors. Tuck the left toes, press the earth away so that you can rise on up into that high lunge. Maybe you widen your stance. An invitation to stay here or reach for that left wrist with the right hand and draw yourself over to the right. Inhale, peace. Exhale, ease. Come all the way back up. Breathe in. As you exhale, frame that front foot. Your choice to step it right on back to plank. You can lower that left knee first or slide the right foot on back. Either variation, it's still plank. Find what feels good. Push the earth away once more. Inhale. And then your choice to make your way through chaturanga, lowering down to your belly, or finding upward dog or cobra, whatever works best. Roll over your knees or your toes to settle back into downward dog, tabletop, or something else that feels good for you. Breathing in here, taking a beautiful deep cleansing breath in. Breathe out to settle back in. And imagining your spine like a wave. So starting with the very base of your spine, can you begin to invite a little ripple? Lead your way forward so that the crown of the head is the last thing to come forward. Find that plank, but let's find a forearm plank, giving our hands and our wrists a little break. So you can drop to the knees or keep them lifted. Hug the elbows towards the knees of the toes and hug the knees of the toes towards the elbows. Let's stay here because we can for 3, for 2, and then 1. Lower down onto your knees. Take them as wide as feels good to find a child's pose here. So lowering your forehead to something, whether it's on your mat, maybe a block, maybe you grab a cushion from the couch if your head is hovering away from the ground. And if you don't have any of those things, you can always bend an elbow and support your forehead with your forearm. And just become aware of your breath through the back line of your body here. So as you breathe in, maybe you notice the sides, the backs of the ribs expand. And as you breathe out, you feel everything soften, surrender inward. As you're here in this pose that we return to find stillness and a little rest, maybe you come back to that visualization in your mind's eye. Perhaps imagining the place that heals you or inspires you, or maybe they're one and the same. What does it look like? What does it feel like? How does it make you feel in your body, your heart, and your mind? Giving yourself another few cycles of breath here. Staying a little longer if you need. If you do feel the pull to begin to invite a little more movement throughout the body, it's up to you. Take what you need and leave what you don't. But if so, let's begin to draw a line with our nose. Come forward onto hands and knees here. Tuck the toes, drop the belly. Welcome another cow belly pose here with the option to stay as you are. Or if you'd like to transition back to downward dog, hips towards the heels, press the hands away. And then send the hips up and back. Again, inviting as much of a bend in your knees, a lift of the heels as you need. Just send the hips towards the back of your space so that you can take as much stress and strain out of the shoulders and the wrists. Breathing in, Feel that sense of peacefulness. Breathing out, sighing out if you wish. Feel at ease. Let's pick up the heels, bend the knees, look between the hands, walk, hop, or fly. Top of the mat. Once you arrive here, let's inhale, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, fold forward. Proudly begin to rise all the way up. Find your standing strong mountain pose. Hands through heart center. And then let them drop. Take a moment to feel that connection with the ground beneath your feet once again. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and down at the back. And just take a moment to tune in. How are you feeling right now? And then if you feel ready, let's soften into it. Reach the hands down and up and overhead. Same thing with a couple optional add-ons. Hold on to that right wrist as you step the right foot behind and off to the side. Invite that Krishna's pose once again. Bend into that left knee as much as you need. Gaze wherever it feels best. Lean the weight of the body into the left leg as you step the right foot around. Hold on to the left wrist with the right hand, leaning over towards the right. Inhale, come on up, uncross the ankles. Separate the hands as you open up, take up so much space. Float the hands up and then hinge forward at the hips to find that standing forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. As you exhale, fold forward again and step that right foot back. So back to where we were. Runner's lunge with the option to lower the right knee down. You can take the block beneath the right hand or keep it to the floor. Let's open up to the left side as you twist on up. This time, option to bend that left elbow and bring the back of the hand to the back of the right hip, inviting a bind there. And as always, wherever it feels cozy in your neck is the best place to look. If you have that bind, start to lift that left hand back up towards the sky. Exhale to unwind out of the twist. Lower that right knee down to the mat and keep that left leg active. Imagine you're trying to leave that left footprint into your mat. So you can bring the forearms to the thighs or sweep the arms all the way up. So a little activity here. And then as you exhale, let the hips drop a little so we can check in with the front line of the right thigh into those hip flexors. If the right toes are not tucked, just invite that movement there. And maybe you stay as you are, or you start to press the earth away from you and find your high lunge here. Widen that stance. Invitation to take that left hand around the right wrist and invite that crescent lean over towards the left. And just a little check-in here. Can you pull that left hip back and wrap the right towards the front? Notice if that changes your experience. Inhale to come back up. Separate the hands. Start to straighten that front leg. Open it up to warrior two. So those left toes point straight ahead, right toes off to the side, shoulders roughly over the hips. And strongly outstretch the arms from the shoulders. Flip your front palm and let's take it back to a reverse triangle so that right hand grazes along the back of that right leg. Inhale to come back up, warrior two. Let's do that again, getting into a little flow, reach back. Inhale, warrior two. One more time. Settling in here, holding, feeling a little length through the left side of the body. And as you inhale, come back into your warrior two. Start to inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, curl the hands down, spin onto the ball of that back foot. And then however you want to get to downward dog, maybe it's through a plank, maybe it's through a chaturanga, maybe it's not, doesn't matter. Find what feels good and land here in your downward dog, tabletop, wherever else you'd like to arrive. Taking your dog for a little bit of a walk here or enjoying stillness. Be in your body and be with your breath for
One more full cycle of breath in. Stay for that exhale. At the bottom of that exhale, pick up the heels, bend the knees, top of the mat. Let's inhale to lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, fold forward. Proudly, once again, rise up to a stand. As you reach the arms around and up and overhead, maybe you lean towards the back and take the hands through heart center. Arrive into your mountain pose. Breathing in, may you feel peaceful. And breathing out, may you feel at ease. Let's move through that sequence one more time. Softening into the knees, reach the hands up and around and up and overhead. Hold on to that left wrist. Krishna's pose one last time. Lean over to the right. Gaze wherever it feels best. And then start to shift the weight of the body into the right leg as you swing the left foot around and lean over towards the left. One last time as we unwind and come on upright, open up, find those goddess arms, feel that space, float the hands up, exhale, dive forward, standing forward fold. Breathe in to lift halfway, and breathe out to fold forward. Take that left foot back, runner's lunge with the option to lower the left knee down. Your choice. From here, left hand to the floor to your block. Twist open to the right as the right hand lifts up. Gaze anywhere at all that feels best in the neck. From here, you can explore the option to bend that right elbow and bring the back of the hand to the back of the hip, finding that bind. And on the next inhale, float that right hand on up. Set the right hand down as the left knee lowers to your mat. Your choice. Hands can stay where they are. Maybe you actively press that right foot into the mat once more to find your low lunge. And keeping that sense of activity here first, lift the heart towards the sky. And then as you exhale, relax. Feel the hips lower. Notice how that changes your experience. Left toes tucked. Maybe you keep the left knee where it is, or you start to press the left knee away from the ground and arrive here into that high or low lunge. Invitation to hold on to that left wrist with the right hand and lean over towards the right, creating that sense of spaciousness through the left side of the body. Inhale here to come on up, release the grip of the hands. Straighten that right leg, drop the left heel so we can come on into that warrior two stance once again. Same thing, opposite side. As you inhale, maybe you find a little reprieve, and as you exhale, sink it down. Flip the front palm, reverse triangle. Right leg straightens, left hand grazes along the left leg. Inhale back, warrior two. Get into a flow, visualize that wave. Move with your breath. Holding it here, creating that sense of space through the right side of the body. And as you inhale, come back in, warrior two. Breathe in to prepare. And as you breathe out, cartwheel the hands down. Spin onto the ball of that left foot. And one last time, if you're craving another chaturanga, if you've had your fill already, take what you need and leave what you don't. Breathing in, a sense of peacefulness. And breathing out, sighing out, ease. Wherever you are, one more breath. Stay for the exhale. And then pick up the heels, bend the knees, look between the hands. Make your way up towards the top of the mat. Once you're there, let's inhale, lift halfway. Exhale to fold forward. Leading with the heart as you bring yourself up to a strong standing foundation. Circle the arms around. And a big cathartic sigh. All right. Taking a moment to stand tall and proud, squeeze the shoulder blades together and down. And I invite you to just take a step back to the center of your mat, and let's play with our balance here. So exploring a few variations on tree pose. So to begin, let's place the weight of our body into our left foot. Bring your hands onto your hips, and first option, maybe you pick up that right heel, and this may be where you stay. The next option, you start to spiral that right knee open to the side and bring that right foot anywhere on the standing left leg. As you press the foot into the standing leg, press the standing leg into the foot. The hands can stay on your hips. Maybe they arrive at heart center. If you'd like to grow your branches, you can lift the hands up. Or my favorite, to open up across the chest a little bit more. Perhaps you bring the fists behind your back or reach for opposite elbow with opposite hand. Standing tall and proud here, embracing the wobbles. If you fall out, who cares? You can begin again or wait for the other side. Breathe in to find peace. Breathe out to find ease. If your hands are somewhere other than at heart center, bring them back. Spiral that right knee close and lower the foot down. Just give your hips a little sway. Shaking off whatever happened on that side, and we'll invite it on in onto the other. So weight of the body into the right foot this time. Maybe the left heel lifts. And one side may be completely different than the other. You can spiral that left knee open. Bring the sole of the foot anywhere along the standing leg. Maybe you try somewhere different, or maybe you go exactly where you were. You can explore with the arm variations that you feel called to this side. And if it felt really good across the chest and shoulders, then maybe you revisit that same variation. And if you feel like you can hang out till tomorrow, close your eyes and see what happens. Embracing the wobbles, reminding ourselves not to take ourselves too seriously. Peace and ease. If the hands are somewhere other than at heart center, bring them back. Spiral that left knee closed and lower that foot down. Give the hips a little sway. What a mystical amount of fog rolling in. How cool is this? Take the feet a little wider apart and let the toes turn out towards either side. Soften into your knees. We're on the way home. Bring the hands up. And as you exhale, lower the hips down to find your malasana, your yogic squat. So for some of us, the heels may be lifted away from the mat. For others, our hips may be quite high. Again, focus on the feeling. And you can rest the elbows on top of your thighs or bring them to the insides of the knees, and just invite a little exploration here. So maybe that means leaning over to one side, the other, forward and back. Just exploring. But if you notice that the top and bottom teeth have firmly clenched together, can you invite a sense of softness instead? Find that peace and ease here. And then if you feel ready, when you feel ready, lower the hands down in front of you. You may need to lift the hips away from the ground first and ease your way down onto your seat. Extending both feet out in front of you. Just invite a little windshield wipering of the feet. Taking a moment to let that settle. And then from here, we'll draw both soles of the feet in towards one another to find a cobbler's pose. So you can rest your hands onto the ankles, the feet, and then sit up as tall as you can. Breathing in, let's hinge forward at the hips as we breathe out. Using the elbows once again as leverage, or maybe you make this a little more passive and yin-like and walk the hands away from the feet or the ankles and just outstretch the arms. If the shoulders start to drift towards your ears here, let them. And on your next next inhale, slowly, gently start to make your way back upright. Walking the hands back in towards the body. And then draw the knees in towards one another. And it may feel quite lovely after that external rotation of the hips to take the feet a little wider apart, lean back into the hands, and windshield wiper the knees from one side to the other. Landing on your seat, let's hug that left knee in towards the chest, inviting another spinal twist here so that left foot can step to the inside or maybe the outside of that right leg. Your right hand reaches behind you to the floor or your block as a kickstand, and that's your left hand. Let's reach the right hand up. Grow tall, and then invite the twist, hugging that left knee in or anchoring that right elbow to the outside of that left knee. Broadening across the chest, the collarbones, and lifting to lengthen through the spine. Next inhale, begin to ease your way out of the twist, and what might feel quite lovely is to lean over towards the right and invite a counter twist here. Breathe in to bring yourself back upright and extend that left leg long. Draw the right knee in. You can step that foot to the inside or the outside of that left leg. Your right hand is behind you like a kickstand, and let's lift and lengthen as the left hand lifts up. Invite that twist as you exhale. Hug that knee in or anchor the elbow to the outside of that right knee or thigh. One more breath in here. Stay for the breath out. And on your next inhale, just begin to make your way out. Gently lean over towards the left side. Welcome that counter twist. And come on back up. As we prepare to make our way down onto our back, letting yourself take your time to ease your way down onto your mat. So if you have any props or anything that will make you feel extra cozy and supported, feel free to have them within reach. And then from here, let's take our time to lower on back down. As you arrive onto your back, can you draw the knees in towards your chest? Giving yourself a really lovely hug here, maybe even tracing circles with the knees in one direction and then into the other. And one last pose here. So if you'd like to invite a supine pigeon or shoelace here, a couple options. Firstly, you can start by lowering the feet back down to the mat. Lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open up the hip, bring that ankle to the thigh. Or you can cross the right knee on top of the left and reach for opposite leg, ankle, or foot with opposite hand. You can hug that left knee in towards your chest. Finding your variation that brings a little more awareness to the outer right hip. And can you create peace and ease even in this pose, which sometimes feels a little bit intense? And find a little more space in between the eyebrows. Soften into the jaw. Inhale to uncross the legs. Reset by drawing the knees in towards your chest. And ease the feet back down to the mat. Let's lift the left leg up, taking it over to the other side. Maybe it's the ankle to the right thigh. Maybe you cross the left knee on top of the right and bring it into that shoelace, or hug that right knee in towards the chest. Either variation will bring a little more awareness into the outer left hip. One more breath here. Now after that exhale, gently unwind, draw both knees in. If a happy baby is something you would like to invite in here, feel free. If there's any other shape that we didn't get to today that you'd absolutely love to welcome in, take this time to settle into whatever else that you're craving. And if you feel ready to transition into a place that feels like rest, whatever that may look like, I invite you to take up as much space as you possibly can. Using props to support you. If the elbows are in contact with the mat, maybe you press them into the mat and then lift the shoulders onto the back a touch more. Relax the fingers. Relax the toes. Let your breath return to its natural rate and rhythm. As you breathe in, may you feel peaceful. And as you breathe out, maybe sighing out, feel a little more at ease. Feeling free to linger in your final relaxation as long as you wish. But before anything else occurs, may you come back to the words shared at the very beginning of our practice. There are two places that you should go often. The place that heals you and the place that inspires you. And maybe when you can't get to them in a physical sense, may you always recall that visualization in your mind's eye. Gently lowering your head towards your heart as a gesture of gratitude, thanking yourself for showing up today and meeting yourself for a little mindfulness, movement, and stillness. Together, may we share one more breath in and a collective sigh out. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your practice. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.